Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm Dr. Dave Hale, your running scientist in the lab, going to go over one of the new shoes that I bought a couple weeks ago down in Orlando, Florida during the USA Olympic Marathon trials, and I've now put about 75 miles on it. Absolutely love the shoe. I've worn it up to, I believe, 14 miles in training last Sunday. Felt good, but I'm starting to think it may be the sweet spot for me for this shoe. And I'm talking about the Hoka Cielo X1. Now, this shoe is putting Hoka back on the map in the premium marathon racing shoes. But as we'll go over, this does have a little bit of weight to it compared to other super shoes out there. One of the things you'll first see on this shoe is that pretty aggressive front rocker and that split midsole with the opening where you can see that carbon plate. What you have to think about when looking at these top tier racing shoes, whether for 5K, 10K, half marathon, or the marathon shoes, now Hoka is saying the Cielo X1 is being marketed to 5K all the way up to marathon, and I do believe for the right people, this will work out in all those distances. Whether that's actually true, I think it is, but what people will find out is with that type of midsole cutout and with this front aggressive rocker, this shoe is made for people who are front toe runners. Will come down forefoot mostly. This does have extra width on the heel section of the outsole to give you a little bit more stability, and you will feel that running in this shoe, the little wider plus a little denser foam in the heel section does provide you with a pretty nice ride. So let me go over what I like about the Cielo X1. I absolutely love the responsiveness of this shoe. It is very bouncy. You have to keep in mind that specific shoes are made for specific niches of runners. When we look at the Alpha Flies, we think of Elliot Kipchoge. That shoe originally was designed specifically for him to try and break the 2-hour marathon record. But Alpha Fly 2, because of the 3 where the AirPods are centered now, that shoe is made more for a 4-foot runner who's going to be landing on those AirPods. When you look at a shoe like this with that very aggressive front rocker, and yes, you've got a little bit on the back here too. So Hoka's calling that a banana rocker because you have it way on the front and way on the back. But with that front rocker, I'm not a 4-foot runner. So what's going to happen if I wear this in a marathon? More than likely, getting up to 15, 16 miles at race speed, my foot is going to be starting to ache right around here. In January, when I ran the Houston Marathon, I wore the Mizunos. They have a very aggressive banana rocker and only about that much in the midsole that touches the ground. In a half marathon that I wore those shoes for the week prior to the Houston Marathon, I took 1.5 minutes off my half marathon race time wearing those Mizunos. But wearing them in the Houston Marathon, come 18 miles, that section of my foot where that Mizuno shoe also has that decoupled midsole here really started aching right across my foot. Come 21 miles, mostly my right foot was really aching. Had some other issues go on during the marathon. Got another video coming up this week going over all that. And I'll tell you, that race took so much of a mental toll on me because of health issues I experienced during the race, but I still qualified for the Boston Marathon. So make sure you take a look at that video when it comes out. On the Cielo X1, I absolutely love the responsiveness. For me, wearing this shoe, I think up to a half marathon, this shoe is going to be perfect for me. The upper on the shoe, it's a very heavy knit material. I personally don't like the material because of the heaviness. The ribbing that you see in the shoe, because of the heaviness of it, when you tighten up your laces, that ribbing will actually allow that material to come together without bunching up. But if you have narrow feet right here, you still will have that usual bunching up of material that a lot of these super shoes end up with if you have narrow feet. Just keep that in mind. Another thing that I hate on these shoes are these laces here. They're synthetic laces. The only good part of them is that if you're running in the dark with these, cars are going to see you because of the top of them have a silver metallic, probably reflective material embedded into them. But these shoelaces, being a heavy plastic, they're not very forgiving. So what happens is when you tighten them in the beginning of your run, do not think these are going to loosen up. If you only single knot them, many times they'll come untied because of that plastic. So if you get the shoe, make sure you double knot the laces. What I've had to do is play with the laces before I start running so it's not too tight, mostly right here on the bridge of my foot. That's why when you're running, if you tighten your laces too tight right there in the middle, that's why your foot may go numb. That's why you may start feeling like you have a needle or nail sticking in to the top of your shoe. So you want to make sure with these laces that you don't tighten them too much, leave a little bit of room in there so when you're running, your foot will be able to flex. Another drawback to this shoe is the tongue. It is a nice material, very stretchy, a knit material on here. Has a nice pull string. I wish they had the pull string on the heel. That really would help because it is in the beginning a little tough to get this shoe on. Because of the amount of material on here, what would have been good is if they made this a one-piece sock upper. That would have been perfect. But because of the amount of material in that tongue, it bunches up. But because it's so soft and almost like a neoprene rubber, I haven't run into the point where it bunches up so much where it hurts my foot. I just don't like to start running knowing that that tongue material is bunched up for fear that later on when I'm down the road 12 to 15 miles or more, that's going to start affecting my foot. The responsiveness in this shoe has been talked about to be equal with the Alpha Flies, and mostly version 1 in the Alpha Fly. I definitely feel with shoes I have, there's one other shoe similar to this by the same company that I think has equal responsiveness, but this foam is a little bit softer in certain sections to still give you that beautiful bouncy ride. What happens later on in a marathon if you're wearing this shoe in there, where in the beginning, you may be forefoot or front of neutral, unless you were a 2 or sub 3 hour marathoner. Towards the end of a race, you're going to be coming down more here in the heel. So what happens when you end up with that extreme rocker in the heel, you don't have enough support because you don't have that flatness in the midsole that you need at that point in the marathon. So you have to keep things like that in mind. Who the shoe is designed for and what type of runner are you? Are you a forefoot runner? Are you a heel striker? Are you a neutral runner? If you're a neutral runner, like me, towards the end of a marathon, because of heavy legs and getting tired, you're going to start drifting more to the heel. I personally don't, because I'm pretty cognizant during marathons of where I'm striking. When I'm doing my run-through of top of my head to bottom of my feet scan of how I'm feeling, and when I get to my feet, I make sure I'm still coming down mid-foot. If you're coming down on the heel, you're going to be overstriding, because those are the people that come down on the heels. Let's check out some numbers to see how this can stack up against maybe a shoe you're wearing now. And I'm using my right shoe, and this is a men's US 10.5. I had to size down half a size in this shoe because my usual 11 had way too much room between the front of my big toe and the front of the shoe. The proper sizing you want to have is 1 thumb width of open room in front of your longest toe, whether that's your big toe or the next one over. If you have more than that, it's the wrong size. So let's test that out. We'll do ounces first, and we have 9.5 ounces, and switch that over to grams, and we have 270 grams. And let's put some durometer numbers on the front here. What I always do is test right under where that foot bend is going to be, and under where your ankle bone will be. And on the forefoot, we have 25 on the bottom, and on the heel, we have 33.5 on the very bottom of the heel. Let's do the inside on the heel, and we have 36, and on the forefoot, we have 24. So pretty similar numbers as far as durometer on the forefoot and the heel. If you're new to the channel and want to continue getting information about how you can push your running potential farther than your genetic abilities keep you to, this is where to get the information, because I give you all the scientific backing you need to know. Statistics, whether on super shoes, nutritional supplements, gear, training regimens, to help you push your performance much farther than if you just relied on what your DNA genetics are going to limit you to. So if you want to be in the know, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification button, and we'll see you back on here on Push Your Run. Peace.